You tune in to the Iceman Show. I'm your host, the Iceman. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 8 days left. We have 8 days left to fund the Urban Revitalization Project. Please dig deep and contribute something. $5, $10, $15, $20, $25. You know, we as black people need to start taking responsibility for our communities, for our neighborhoods. And the only way to do that is to solve the economic problem. And our economic problems are based on the fact that we don't support nonprofits and also for-profit businesses owned by black people that serve black people. And this Urban Revitalization Project is my way of trying to get you guys involved as a neighborhood, even though we don't live in the same cities, states, and in some cases the same country. But we as black men and women need to see the urban cities as a place where we need to start we need to start taking our dollars and buying our freedom. And the only way to do that is to support programs that invest in our people. And the way you can get this started is by contributing to the Urban Revitalization Project at asktheiceman.com. Go to asktheiceman.com and you can click on the link and you can contribute. I'm just asking you to contribute something. You have to understand, this is what everybody else is doing. We're the only community where black men and women will accuse other black men and women who are trying to do something of ripping off the community. But yet you go give to La Raza or some other old non-black program, or you'll even donate money to nonprofits that don't do shit for black people. United Way don't do nothing for black people. In some cases, the United Way comes in and shits on the black nonprofits that are already in place trying to make things happen. But because they have hundreds of millions of dollars to play with, small black nonprofits can't compete. So if you feel comfortable supporting non-black businesses who don't do shit for us, but yet you can sleep at night, why don't you sleep on this? Tomorrow when you wake up, the job you got over there at Hunky McGee's company may not be there when you get there. It may not be there. What are you going to do then? I remember one time I got fired off a job working for this white company. And I was, again, one of the few black people that worked there. And because of my intelligence and my job experience, I got a job working at this company. And again, there were very few black people. If I remember correctly, there were no black people. I was the only black man in that machine shop. And because I knew how to run a lathe, and I knew my math skills are average, they were impressed with me enough that they hired me for the job. And after about 3 or 4 months of working there, I noticed things started going downhill. Okay? They started going downhill. And I actually found another job, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, and it had less prestige. But if I remember correctly, the pay was the same. So I decided to stay where I was, and I ended up getting fired. And obviously, as a black man, I got fired over nothing. I was coming to work on time every day. I was working so much overtime that I had stacked up a little money in the bank. And it doesn't really take long for white males and females to start showing their asses at the job if you're a real black man. Doesn't take long, people. And I just start getting tired of them, man. And I just, there's a couple of neo-Nazis working there. They started, telling nigger jokes out in the open, and I started talking shit about that. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck y'all. And I used to drive 20 miles to this job. So I actually had to drive out of the black neighborhood to get to this job. And I drove all the way over there, and I noticed that when I was driving on my way home, I was a little depressed, and I was thinking, I drive all the way over here to the suburbs to go work at this white-owned company. How come there's no job for me in my own neighborhood? And I realized that when I would go out on Fridays and Saturday nights, because obviously I was a lot younger then, when I'd go out on Fridays and Saturday nights, I realized why there wasn't any jobs. Now, obviously, I hung around a lot of people back then. And we all used to get fucked up and go to the club, pick up bitches. At this time, I was just messing with a couple chicks. I wasn't dating nobody on the regular. And but I was doing a lot of clubbing around that time. We used to go to clubs near the beach. And one thing I noticed is that I was like, well, why? I started asking myself this. I was like, well, how come there's no jobs for me in my neighborhood? And I one time I drove around the community, the neighborhood that I lived in, and I realized what the problem was. The only thing black men were doing back then is selling drugs, selling dope. Even guys I knew didn't have a stomach for doing that shit, who really wasn't even, gangster with it. These niggas was out here trying to slang them rocks, coming by my house with brand new BMWs and all this kind of shit. And I'm like, man, what? I'm like, man, you selling dope? I'm like, man, why are you doing this shit? Oh man, getting paid. Sure enough, either them niggas end up getting shot, getting killed, getting their ass beat, getting jacked. Man, that shit wasn't worth it, man. Them niggas is all fucked up now. If they ain't cracked out, they been in and out of penitentiary. They got records, and they really didn't have the balls to really do that shit anyway. These guys weren't gangsters. Some of these guys weren't gangster type niggas, but they was fake. But that crack shit was so prevalent that a lot of people decided to try their hand. And to their detriment, they got their asses kicked. But I realized there was nothing in that particular black neighborhood that would sustain where I could use my skill set and my intelligence to excel at. I mean, the only thing that was, even back then, the only thing that was jumping off was retail and food service. That's the only thing that they have in black neighborhoods. The rest of it, either you're going to own your own business, like a restaurant or greasy rib shack or whatever, or you're going to drive outside the community and work, which is what most of us did, except for the people who work for the city or the county or the state. which I didn't really want to do that kind of work anyway. And that's one of the reasons I decided that I was going to go to the military, because I was like, I wasn't going to sit around that particular city and not do nothing. Like a lot of these guys I know. Yeah, a lot of these guys got jobs and they've been working those jobs for 20, 25 years, whatever. But at the same time, man, they still, I think socially, they still haven't grown. Whereas I've been all around the world. I've thrown dick all around the world. Where have they been? They ain't been nowhere. Maybe they went to Vegas a couple of times, but that was about it. That's not growth to me. You know, that ain't growth. You know. But then you have, you know, the church shit going on. I know a lot of people that I used to hang out with that are into that church shit. Okay? Now they're the church nigga. Man, you should come, when you come out here, man, holler at me so, we go to church. I said, man, I ain't going to no damn church. I don't go to no fucking church, man, you hypocrite. I am not the one to be going to no fucking church. I ain't that dude. I'm not that dude. But speaking of church, I was just reading an article. Matter of fact, I talked about this article. It was an article that I read on my show when I was on Blog Talk Radio. And I thought this was interesting. They said that black people give or had given like $400 and something million in a 3-year period to black churches. What kind of shit is that? What kind of bullshit is that? Really? See, this is what makes black people look sad and stupid. Black people will sit up here and give their money to a church, but then won't demand any services from the church other than the lying-ass ex-pimp preacher laying hands on them and speaking in tongues and all that old silly-ass shit. We'll give hundreds of millions of dollars to black churches and still be in the same economic condition 30 years from then. It's obvious that these people don't see that Christianity is a pagan religion, like most of us do. So black folks will go out here and spend hundreds of millions of dollars a year on church. It doesn't create any jobs. It doesn't create any wealth. It doesn't create any retirement. It's just going in the preacher's and his wife's pocket. While they roll around in a Bentley, you riding on the church van. While they're rolling around in a brand new Mercedes, you catching the bus. While the pastor and his wife are flying to Tahiti every year on church money, you driving a raggedy ass bucket to work. You driving a hoopty, and the pastor and his wife are chilling in a villa in Tahiti. You really don't have to look too far past that to see how stupid black people are. But I found another article I thought was very interesting, and this link was sent to me by Human Paradox, and he said, "Ice, you're gonna have to check this out and hopefully talk about this after you process this article on the show." And the name of the article that Human Paradox sent me is "You may be surprised how many born-again Christians use Ashley Madison." Now, those of you who don't know what Ashley Madison is, it's a totally bullshit ass fucking online site for so-called discreet indiscretions. In other words, it's for people who want to cheat on their significant other, but do it discreetly. Let me read to you some of this article. Total bullshit. Having faith doesn't necessarily mean you are faithful to your spouse. A new survey conducted by Ashley Madison, a dating website for people already in relationships, sought to discover the link between religion and infidelity by asking 105,000 people, 105,000 of its members around the world about their religious affiliation. More than 60,000 of the respondents were in the U.S. It turns out 1 in 4 members who responded described themselves as born-again evangelist Christians. Catholics comprised the next group at 22.75%, followed by Protestants 22.7%. People who have faith often use it as an outlet for forgiveness, says Dr. Eric Anderson, a sociologist at the University of Winchester in England. So they're more likely to cheat and less likely to feel guilty. Yeah, remember I told y'all about that, manna on high bullshit, all that, you can sin, you go out here and fuck around, you go out here and fuck off your family's money and then come home and ask for forgiveness. All you gotta do is tell white Jesus about it and white Jesus will fix it. Remember when we talked about that? Doesn't that sound ridiculous and stupid? I don't know why, it cracks me up how people think it's just like that analogy that I raised. If you go and take a platinum visa and you charge up $100,000 on it in 2 weeks, sooner or later, at the end of the month or a little before that, you're going to get a bill to pay that $100,000 off. What do? We stand up and we foam at the mouth and we say, Jesus will fix it. Jesus, he will fix it. After a while, we still sitting up here singing Negro spirituals. Okay? That make us look like some Bojangle ass niggas. The fuck is wrong with us, man? I've always said this, that church people were the phoniest motherfuckers on the planet. You got people that go to the same church to be up in there fucking. Okay? Yet they're supposed to be men and women of God. But white Jesus is supposed to wash your sins away. Because he said so. Let me read further. Here's an entire breakdown of each denomination. Evangelists, 25.1%. Catholics, 22.75%. Protestant, 27.7%. Then they got like 1% for Mormons, 1% for Muslims, Jewish, 1.4%, atheists, juvenile, I was about to say juvenile witness, Jehovah's Witness, 0.5%. Wow, that's crazy. Ashley Madison is a total waste of time and money. Don't ever fuck with that asshole ass fucking site. And if you think you're gonna go on there and meet bitches, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen because they don't like niggas on there. Okay? I've had a couple guys over the years. I've had a couple people come by and say that they had tried the site and they said it was overrated and bullshit, and that they want all kind of money. I think they want like $49 or $59 for one fucking month, and then you gotta earn points or some shit like that. Anyway, it's a total waste of time. And like I said, they don't like black men on there. So I would hope that you wouldn't give them any money anyway. But I think it's highly hypocritical for these so-called born-again Christians to use a discreet side piece dating website to get their swerve on. I find that to be hilarious. Shows you where their hearts are. Okay? But I find it to be interesting that these people are seeking outside ass, and they're supposed to be people of God. And you know most of them are white. You know they talking about that most of these people are white. Okay? You know most of these people are white. Okay? Total bullshit. But these people out here getting their swerve on, doing their thing, and they're supposed to be men and women of white Jesus. Let me tell you something. The biggest freaks I ever ran into were bitches that were saying, "Oh Lord" and "Amen" every other sentence. Biggest freaks. A lot of them are potheads and they claim they're Christians. Just fucking clowns, man. This shit is ridiculous. Totally fucking ridiculous. But instead of giving your money to church, why don't you go out here and find a couple black businesses to support instead of sitting on your dead ass and sitting on your hands doing nothing? Those of you who are interested in getting information on setting up your business and getting a business plan done, you can sign up for a business consultation. You can go to asktheiceman.com and we will talk in confidence about how we can help you get your business off the ground. Now, this is basic information, okay? So don't expect me to give you a verbal business marketing plan over the phone. That's not what this is going to be. You have to pay the full price for a business marketing plan. And paying $49 ain't going to get it. But you can go by asktheiceman.com for more information. I do have several individuals who have sent me messages this week thus far, and we're going to, or went ahead and paid for the business consulting, and we're going to go from there once these young men and women send me an email telling me what day they want me to contact them, day and time anyway. I look forward to working with these guys. But they know up front that, you know, in order to get the full extent of my assistance, they're going to have to, you know, purchase a business plan package. If you're as serious as you claim you are, then you'll understand that this is money well spent. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting up here looking like a fool. Because it's just like this one idiot that came by one of my videos talking shit, talking about a business plan ain't needed. Only somebody who's never owned their own business and probably never finished community college would say something like that. This person sounds bitter as hell. This is the type of person, this particular person, I think why she was so bitter and so mad at the Iceman is because somebody came by and kicked over or pushed over her little lemonade stand table. Okay? And she got butt hurt over it. So now she's on a mission to shit on anybody or try to shit on somebody that's offering a skill set and service or services that she herself cannot provide to anybody and make money. So what these people do, or what this person did, is instead of saying, hey, I ain't shit and I don't have the skills you have, Iceman, what this person decided to do was waste time scribbling some stupid ass comment, talking about calling me arrogant and all this kind of stuff. Look, I ain't even read the whole message because I'm just like, this person is so short and so small that even if they got on a ladder and jumped up and swung at the Iceman, they still wouldn't hit. They still would only hit me in the ankles. Okay. So, you know, people like, little small people like that don't bother me. Who you think he is? I bet you if I sound like a goddamn Sambo and was shucking and jiving and bullshitting, this person wouldn't mind coming by and going to asktheiceman.com and purchasing something. Let me reiterate something, ladies and gentlemen. You can get into America's pop culture nonsense, or you can go out here and support the Iceman show. Because you got to understand something, ladies and gentlemen. This show is being funded by paid subscribers who believe in me, and men and women who believe in the product, and they believe in being informed. That's why they pay every month. Whereas a lot of you don't pay for anything. Matter of fact, you don't even pay for your own cable. I remember one time I had a client, and I used to do facility maintenance. I had a facility maintenance company because I own rental property. And I went over to one of my units to go and I had to put a vent pipe in because the vent pipe had rotted, and then I had to run a new uh, waste pipe to the vent, and I had to replace the vent all the way on from the third level of the building all the way down to the first floor unit where this plumbing problem was going on. And I fixed it, and it probably took me about 3 hours to do the job because I had to keep going to the hardware store to buy more pipe. But anyway, I had this client, and he was a hating ass dude that he was mad because I owned the apartment he lived in. And probably after about 2 months he started playing games and not having the rent on the first and all that kind of shit, because basically he was trying to dare me to start the eviction process. So I'd call him or I'd send him an email and I'd say, hey man, you didn't pay your rent yet. You're getting assessed late fees. And he would pay all the late fees that I told him to pay. But I was just like, but I would say to myself, why does this guy just purposely pay his rent late? And I realized that it was because, well, first of all, it was because he was an idiot. But it was also because he thought he was hurting me by not paying on the first. And I remember one time I was over there doing some work, and he was making all these little sarcastic remarks. And I finally checked him on my way out. I said, hey, you know what, man? Let me tell you something. You can roll up your sleeves and you can do okay yourself. And he had a good job. He wasn't a broke dude. He had a really good job, as a matter of fact. Actually, he made so much money, I was wondering why he was in an apartment. And one day, like that particular day, I got ready to walk away, and I said something shitty to him. I said, hey man, you don't have to stay here. You go ahead and grab your rags and get to stepping. But he was a certified hater. And I finally told him, I said, man, we all are given opportunities. The difference between me and you is that I utilized mine and you fucked off yours. And that shut him up. I never said anything else to him. I didn't say nothing else to him. Because I already thought he was a dingleberry and an idiot. And you know what they say? It's better to be a fool and be silent than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. And I'm paraphrasing. Don't be a fool, people. Find black businesses in your neighborhood and support them. And to all the idiots who send me emails telling my I don't live in a black neighborhood. Well, get up off your ass and go drive to one and support those black-owned businesses. Remember, the Iceman Show would not exist if it wasn't for the paid subscribers. That's why they get premium lectures and videos, and you get the free stuff, which is not as good. But some people are okay with that. I'm not. We need to support black businesses, and we need to start doing it yesterday. There's no jobs in the hood, people. Only despair, evilness, mean-spiritedness, rape, molestation, and drug peddling, and the violence that neighborhoods across this country suffer from. But it's up to you. It's up to you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you don't want to support the Iceman Show, I understand, but support somebody. Somebody black. Support somebody black. We need your help. We need to start setting up more funds like the Urban Revitalization Project. We need more of that. Instead of being like white folks and raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to do things, we haven't raised anything but a few dollars. And that is proof positive how disjointed and irrelevant, and how black people show no kind of allegiance and protection for our assets. Instead, you have people who wish the Iceman would go away. So I say to you today, or tonight, what are you going to support? You going to send money to the United Way? Or you going to go out here and donate some money to a nonprofit that helps black men and women get off drugs and alcohol and stay clean and rebuild their lives? If you don't want to subscribe to the Iceman Show, you don't want to contribute to the Urban Revitalization Project, support something that black people are attached to. The problem with black people today and in the black neighborhoods are that you want to continue to take, and not give anything. All you see in the hood is a bunch of takers. The drug dealers ain't nothing but takers. The single black female is nothing but a single mom is not going to build anything. If anything, they're going to be there to tear it down and undermine you as a man. To me, it seems to me like most of these women live to try to show up a man and use men and prostitute men, and then turn around and become a victim instead of being outward with their predator persona. They want to come off like sheep and try to act like they're victims. But go by AskTheIceman.com for more information on any one of these programs. You tune into the Iceman Show. I'm your host, The Iceman. AskTheIceman.com.